Hey guys, I'm back. GABRIEL'S Leah here. And it's January 15th, 2024. It's snowing outside here in Nashville, and it's 15 degrees right now in my garage. But I'm determined to get this prophecy to you guys. I have got an amazing, brand new prophecy, biblical prophecy, that I don't think anyone has ever known in the history of mankind. And I'm going to tell you about it in this video. And guys, I absolutely know what I'm going to tell you is the truth. You say, how do you know that, Gabe? Because God confirmed it to me. I'm not even the one that discovered the prophecy. It's somebody who follows this channel. And in a 7-day period, they emailed me the information on a Sabbath at 10:45 p.m. on a Friday evening. The Sabbath. And 7 days later, on the following Sabbath, another email came from somebody I haven't heard from in 3 years. I'm going to tell you all about it. Absolutely shocking. But God confirmed this prophecy. Let me tell you one more thing. On that Wednesday, in the middle of that week, I cried out to God in bed that night because I was so stunned by the prophecy. I said, God, is this really what you did? It's like I just wanted to crawl up in God's lap and just ask Him face to face, is this the truth? Did you really tell me, is this really what you did? 3 days later, that Sabbath, another email with the confirmation. Mind-blowing. All right, so you guys know in my 2008 book, I've been teaching that God declared the end from the beginning by the creation story containing 7 days. Those 7 days each prophesied of a coming 1,000-year period for a 7,000-year plan God is playing out on this earth. And I revealed to you that in each creation day, God put a prophecy of the greatest event that would occur in that future millennium. This is mind-blowing information. And if you remember, on the 4th day, the greater and lesser lights that God created, they foretold the coming of John the Baptist and Jesus Christ, who would come during the 4th millennium. And don't get confused by the numbers, guys. Study this so that you know it's really simple. But day 1 goes from year 0 to 1,000, or year 1 to 1,000. Day 2 goes from 1,000 to 2,000. Day 3, 2,000 to 3,000. And day 4, 3,000 to 4,000. So day 4, creation day 4, that prophecy is from years 3,000 to 4,000. And that's when Jesus and John the Baptist were here. They lived during those years. And they lived during the very last years of those years. They left year 4,000. Jesus was crucified year 4,000. The 4,000th solar year of this earth. The 4,000th trip of earth around the sun. When that was happening, Jesus was on that cross. And this prophecy is going to reconfirm all of this, that Jesus was here during the 4th millennium, as well as it's going to confirm the 7-day plan, and that the 7th millennium is a special, separate, that's its own entity. That's the coming 1,000-year kingdom reign of Jesus Christ on this earth. Jesus is going to return year 6,000. And that's coming 2028. Feast of Trumpets 2028. So let's get into this. All right, so on May 5th, 2023, I received this email from a man named Cameron. And his YouTube channel is Camerson1313. And guys, he knows my information inside and out. He's read the entire 2008 book, watched the video series. He knows the prophetic information that I've been tasked to deliver to you guys. And so in researching a book that he's writing, he discovered this in the Bible, in the book of Genesis. And so I'm going to put his email on the screen, and at some time you can stop the video and you can read his email. But for right now, I'm just going to tell you the prophecy. For it regards Jacob's children. You guys remember Jacob in the book of Genesis? Abraham and Sarah had a child named Isaac. Isaac married Rebekah, and they had a child named Jacob, whom God changed his name to Israel. And Jacob went over to Laban's to work for 7 years for a wife. He wanted Rachel. Laban had two daughters, Rachel and Leah. And so Jacob worked for 7 years to obtain Rachel. But on his wedding night, Laban put Leah in the tent, his firstborn daughter. And so he had to marry her. And then he worked another 7 years, and he finally got Rachel, the one he really wanted. So this is some crazy stuff, in the Bible here. You're going, what's going on here? But remember, God is controlling the details to make prophecy. And so what happened with Leah is she had 4 sons. And I got the numbers right by them on this sheet here, on this chart for you. This is the very order that Jacob had these children, in chronological order. Leah had 4 sons, Reuben first, then Simeon, then Levi, then Judah. And then her womb got closed up. All of a sudden she can't have any more children. You're going, what's going on with that? And so what happened is, by that time, Jacob had married Rachel. And Rachel's womb was closed. She couldn't have any children. So back in those days, what was customary is they'd give their husband their handmaiden, or their servant, to have children in their name. And so Rachel gave Jacob Bilhah to have children. And so she then had Dan, his 5th child, and then Naphtali. I'm not even sure how to say these names, guys. Then that made Leah jealous. There's a lot of jealousy going on, just a lot of stuff going on here in these stories, guys. You got to read it sometime. So Leah then gave Jacob her handmaiden, Zilpah. And so then he had Gad and Asher. Then, all of a sudden, Leah's womb was opened back up again, and she has 2 more sons. His 9th and 10th child, Issachar and Zebulun. Then she has a daughter, his 11th child, Dinah. What's going on here, guys? And then finally Rachel's womb was opened and she had children. She had Joseph and Benjamin. So do you see it, guys? Look at the 7 children with Leah. It's right there. Remember in the creation story I told you the first 4 days were their own entity in the fact that no life was created. 4 days are their own separate thing, no life. It meant that mankind would live in bondage to sin and death for 4,000 years. And then God would come send a Messiah to die for us, year 4,000, and we would live at that point 2,000 years in the finished work of Messiah. Eternal life was now available to mankind. And so God created life days 5 and 6. So you get it. You get the 4, then the 2, then 1. So when we look at Leah's life, it's the same thing. She has 4 boys, then later 2 more boys, and then 1 daughter. Jacob's only daughter, out of 13 children, his only daughter is the 7th child to Leah. What's that about? Do you see, guys, that is the 7-day, 7,000-year master plan of God. The 7th child being a daughter. Guys, what are we called when Jesus returns? The bride of Christ. At that point, we're going to become his bride. It's like a female. So the 7th child was a daughter. And I got a plane going over right now. I'm not sure you can hear that or not. I'll wait a second. Let this sink in. And if any of you are an astute biblical student, you should know in those first 4 sons, which one led to the lineage or to the Messiah. It was the 4th one, Judah. Remember, Jesus is the Lion from the tribe of Judah. Oh! The 4th one leads to Jesus. Day 4 in the creation story, led to Jesus. He was the greater light. The greater and lesser lights in day 4. You guys remember that stuff? Day 4, when Jesus and John came along, Jesus said, I am the light of the world. And then later he talked about John the Baptist, and he said he was a burning and a shining light. And you were willing for a while to rejoice in his light. But I have a greater witness than John. I told you all this stuff in my series. You got to learn this stuff, guys. You have to watch the 10-part 2028 End video series and learn these prophecies, how God was able to do this. A couple times. John, the one time. We don't have much from John the Baptist in the Bible, but one time he said, he must become greater and I must become less. The greater and lesser lights, guys, day 4 of creation, led to Jesus and John the Baptist. It meant they were going to be here on earth sometime between the years 3000 to 4000. And sure enough, they died year 4000. Meaning they were here like the last 30-some years, 33 years, or, roughly 33 years of the last, like 3,967 to the year 4000. That's the years that Jesus and John lived on this earth. And so here it was, the 4th child, Judah. What are the chances of this, guys? The odds of this happening are just astronomical. How can this be? How can Leah have 7 children, 6 of them sons? First 4, they're kind of separately, while her womb was, and then her womb got closed, and then she has another 2. You got this 4, 2, and 1. It's exactly what the creation story is, with the 4th one leading to Jesus. So there it was, guys. My mind was blown. I knew it's so obvious there it is, and yet it's almost like I couldn't accept it. It's like I just needed God somehow to just come down here, God, and tell me, yes, this is absolutely what I did. I controlled those 7 children in Leah's life, Jacob and Leah's life, to once again prophesy my 7-day, 7,000-year plan. Do you understand what we're saying here, guys? This is saying that God truly is playing out a 7,000-year plan. It's the whole message I've spoken right here since 2008. It's the truth. Jesus is going to return 2,000 years from the year he died on the cross. I mean, this is only a few years away, man. So there I was, flabbergasted, mind blown. And like I said, it was either Tuesday or Wednesday night that week, and just a few days later after Cameron's email. It's like my whole soul, I was about to go to sleep, and my whole soul just cried out, God, is this really what you did? Did you really control those 7 children to prophesy of your 7,000-year plan again? It's like my soul just wanted to crawl up in God's lap and just have him just speak it directly to me. Yes. And that's an airplane going over, if you can hear it right now. So you understand? I just wished I could have crawled up in his lap, and he could have just told me face to face, yes, Gabe, it's what I did. Because I didn't want to deliver this message to you guys if I didn't know that this is the truth. And so that's what I cried out. It's like my soul cried out, and I went to sleep. A few days later, like I said, the next Sabbath. Now remember, this is Sabbath to Sabbath. We're talking about God's 7-day plan. The Sabbath is the special, the 7th millennium, when Jesus is going to be here for 1,000 years. So it's interesting that this prophecy, it was delivered to me on a Sabbath, and the following Sabbath, 7 days later, I received this email. And this person wants to remain anonymous, so I'm not going to tell you their name. But here's what they wrote me. I'm going to put their email up on the screen right now. And I'm going to only read the important parts. Hello, Gabriel. Long time, brother. How are you two doing? Speaking about me and my wife. Hope you're well. Finally, I've found a true companion, and I'm happier. I also have a baby daughter of 10 months. Her name is Gianna Leah. Gianna being the female version of John in Italian. Leah? Well, that's a nice story in Revelation. I had strong feelings for a while that it was going to be a girl. What I've always wanted. in her mother's womb around the 3rd or 4th month of her pregnancy. And I asked the Lord one night, and all I heard ever so clearly was one word, a name, Leah. So immediately I was sure it was a girl. And I told my wife about that, but she didn't believe me. Thought it was just a dream. But no, I was totally awake, trying to sleep. I still wasn't sure why he used that name. Scriptural and means fragile. Jacob's first wife, of course. Anyways, my wife already had a name in mind, so we compromised and named her both. One day on my wife's birthday, they had a gender reveal party for her, and the sex was in an envelope sealed by the doctor. The cake was also pink inside when she finally cut it. It was no surprise to me. Wow. How about that, guys? I knew when I received this email that God was answering my prayer from 3 nights earlier. Yes, Gabriel, I did control Leah's 7 children to once again prophesy my 7,000-year plan for this earth. And that Jesus came during the 4th millennium, was here, died year 4,000, will return year 6,000. It's all true. Everything I've written in this book since 2008, guys, it's all true. God is with me. This message is from Him. Whether you want to hear it or not, that's on you. But this fella, notice in his email, he didn't know why God had answered his prayer with the word Leah. Why is that how God confirmed to him that he's going to have a girl? There's got to be 100 ways, 1,000 ways that God could have confirmed to him that your baby child is going to be a girl. God set it all up, guys. He set this all up. This is 16, remember his baby's 10-month-old at the time of this email. It was in the 3rd month of the pregnancy, so about another 6 months, about 16 months before this was happening to this fella. God spoke the word Leah. 16 months before Cameron discovered God's 7-day plan through the story of Leah's life and those 7 children. How about the timing of God? And then I haven't heard from this guy in 3 years. And he emails me just a few days after 3 years of not hearing, we hadn't talked to each other, with this story. Guys, if you can't see it, boy, you can't see it. I am telling you guys, everything I have written in this book since 2008, it's true. Jesus is going to be here 2,000 years after the year of his death. Feast of Trumpets 2028. I know there's other ministries popping up now on YouTube, in the last year or so. Messiah 2030 or whatever, and but guys, listen, God is not the author of confusion. He's not popping up different people with different messages, conflicting, and that's not what God does. This message, you have proof it's from God. You have all the evidence in my life personally. You got all the evidence in the Bible. It's the truth. Hear it. And guys, this prophecy stuff aside, this ministry is not some just freak ministry trying to convince you of a year of Christ's return. That's not what this ministry is about. Because God gave me the full truth of salvation. What we must do to obtain eternal life. That's the real message behind this. Because there is tons of false doctrines in the church. Literally doctrines of devils. Salvation doctrines of devils are in the church. Making you think that all you got to do is just, if I believe that Jesus died on the cross, I'm going to heaven. No, that's not true. You need to live by the teachings of Jesus, which were all based on the 10 Commandments. And those 10 Commandments are the deeds of love. He wants you to love. So you need to listen to the Salvation Equation and the 10 Love Commandment series. Learn the truth of salvation to make sure you're ready when Christ returns, Feast of Trumpets 2028. That is the important thing. So that's it, guys. Sorry it took a snowstorm for me to finally get this video out to you. We've been shut in down here for 3 days. The roads are frozen. It's cold. But here it is. I got it to you. If I hear anything else from the Lord, I promise I'll get it out to you. God bless.